Hey everyone, I'm Erin and this is the Cardboard Republic. This is a haul video, so we're going to talk about some of the games that we got in during the month of October. Let's jump right in. First up is SPQF. This is a deck building game about building a civilization, but you're doing it by kind of choosing a path, choosing a route that you want your civilization to take. Do you want it to be agricultural? Do you want it to be militaristic? I don't know. I'm guessing those are two routes you can take because they generally are. I haven't played this yet. So you pick a path and you have to try to optimize the heck out of it. That is SPQF. Catch the Moon is a game that we first played at Gen Con. It's amazing. You start with these two wooden ladders and you roll a die, and the die tells you how to place the next ladder. Is it only touching one ladder? Is it touching two ladders? Or is it trying to catch the moon? Is it having to be the tallest ladder out there? It's a dexterity game, but with a balance component, and the table presence of this game, like what it looks like when you're playing it, is beautiful and so interesting. It's really, really fun. If you drop a ladder, you make the moon cry though, and you have to collect a little tier token, and that makes me sad. Clans of Caledonia was actually an Architect Laurel nominee last year, but we finally got in our own copy of the game. Previously, we'd played other people's copies. This was one that we both really liked. Honestly, I played it a few times, and all of the different times that I played it are kind of blurring together for me. But I remember that you take little meeple and little square cubes, because it's a Euro game, off of your own little player board and put them onto the central little player board. You tick some things up, you tick some things down. It plays like a typical Euro. You are managing a clan in Scotland, which is a theme that I can really get behind. And yeah, I'm excited that we have our own copy in our collection now. Kalimala is a game with a theme that honestly bores me to tears. So you are running like a cloth guild in Europe in Middle Ages. So that's what you're doing. But mechanically, it's really interesting. You are placing your disc on a little space, and when you do so, you get to take the actions of both of the spaces around you. If later on in the round, another player places their disc in the same spot, puts it right on top of your little disc, they take their actions, but you also get to take yours again. I think that that's fascinating. I think that there could be a lot of table politics involved in this, and a lot of just knowing your opponents really well, which you kind of see in some Euro games, but not to the extent that this is kind of hinting at. I'm excited to see if that whole mechanic, interesting thing going on there makes the really dry theme more fun. Speaking of boring themes, Carpe Diem is a game where you are a patrician trying to build up their estate. Just like a lot of other games, actually. So in this one, you're doing so by planting gardens and so on and so forth. It's a tile laying game. I like tile laying games because I love to see a game progress out across the table in front of me. That makes me just really happy. And that is why I will give this a chance, even though there are approximately 50 million other games about doing something similar. And they could have picked any theme. And they picked this one, which is okay. That's their choice. And we'll see. We'll see. Neon Gods is a reskin of a previous game, of City of Remnants. That was a game that had aliens, territory control, that whole thing. I was really bad at it, but it was a good game. Just not for me to play, especially when tired. So this is the same game, still like area control, trying to gather up as much territory as you can. The theme is like weird kind of dystopian neon future. I don't know. I guess, I mean, it's creative. I will give them that it is creative. Pax Emancipation crams a lot of game into such a tiny box. It is a heavy, cooperative Euro game, kind of like a simulation, essentially, of the global emancipation movement. So it can be for up to 3 players, and each plays as a separate movement. One is a religious movement, one is private philanthropist, etc., trying to work together to end slavery around the globe. So these games, all of Phil Eklund's games, are very, very much simulations. So you never quite know what you're gonna get. Sometimes they err a little bit too much on the simulation side, maybe a little bit too little on the game fun side. We haven't tried this one yet. I'm curious to see how such a theme that is so tied into all of the things that at least America is going through right now and has been, how that works in a game that is at once so long and so heavy, but also so tiny. So Pax Emancipation is kind of a little enigma to me, and I want to play it, and I want to see what is going on here. Just what is this? The Keyforge starter deck system thing. So Keyforge, in case you missed the whole Fantasy Flight unveiling, is a game where every deck is procedurally generated. So no 2 decks are the same. This also means that some decks are going to work radically better than others. Anyway, this is the starter, so it has a couple different decks in there. You can use it to test out the game. I'm so curious to see what happens with Keyforge, because I think if people get decks that they like, if people in the right spots get the right decks, it could be a wild success. If they do not, it could totally flop. Either way, I think it's a really interesting experiment, and it's an interesting experiment by Fantasy Flight, which is one of the few game companies out there right now that can probably afford a rather large flop. That said, I hope it succeeds, at least for a while, because I really do want to see what happens with this. And I want to see them take the idea of Keyforge, take this idea of a procedurally generated card collecting game, and build on that. I want to see what they do next with it. Finally, we have the 3rd edition of Arkham Horror. So it is not a surprise, right, that I love Arkham. It was one of my favorite games. It has been for years and years and years. This new edition aims to streamline that original experience a lot. It takes some cues from Eldritch Horror, which came out much after the latest, previous to this, Arkham, and it just takes the Arkham experience, distills it into something maybe a little more modern, a little bit more palatable to gamers who are just entering the hobby now, and overall, I'm very, very excited to try it. I don't know if it will replace that big Arkham board with all of those expansions and those stacks of cards. I don't know if it'll do that for me, but I think that it could do that for a lot of people, and I am very, very happy about that. Those are the games that we got in during the month of October. November is going to bring a whole bunch of new games. It's also going to bring BGG, which if you're going to be there, definitely let us know, because we would love to say hi to you. Play a game or something. Sometimes I do that. So anyway, let us know what games you got in recently down below, and we will be back again really, really soon. Bye.